LookingFour is the newest, safer way to buy and sell online. Launched in February 2020, LookingFour helps people live a more organized and sustainable lifestyle. Randy Tan is the founder of LookingFour. So, hello Randy. I'm very happy to meet you and to talk about LookingFour dito sa Startup Podcast.
Hi, Johnny. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about Looking For.
Yeah, of course. I'm very excited to know about LookingFour and to know more about marketplace startups dito sa Philippines. So let's start with, ano nga ba ang LookingFour?
Looking For, it's a marketplace. It's similar to Carousel, Facebook Marketplace. These are platforms where people buy and sell online. Our tagline is buying is better with Sigurado Sellers, because that's one thing that we want to really to push, which is Sigurado Sellers, because ang Pinoy sigurista.
Yeah. I want to know more about that later, no? Yung Sigurado Sellers. I think somehow LookingFour is emphasizing security aspect ng marketplace na ito. So, I want to know more. Ano ba ang marketplace? I think isang marketplace may mga buyers, may mga sellers. Pero can you just define it for us and maybe answer then why did you create your own marketplace?
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. Tama ka doon sa definition. Marketplace, you have buyers and sellers. That's a basic thing. I mean, the market is where you buy stuff. With regards to online, the marketplace, it can be a lot of things, depending on the niche, diba? Right? There's a marketplace. You have big platforms like Shopee and Lazada where they carry everything,
okay.
And there are also marketplaces that are very specific, like a niche for shoes, a niche for collectible items. These are all kinds of marketplace. So it can be as broad as you want, or it can be as very defined as you want. But so marketplace, typically it's one of the most challenging startup actually, since you have to get sellers on board and you also have to get the buyers on board. So it's a very challenging startup to do. But in my mind, when we did LookingFour, what I had in mind was, if I make a startup an easier startup or a hard startup, the amount of effort would be the same. So I might as well, as the saying goes, shoot for the moon. When you miss, you land among the stars. So yes.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So you want to make something unique nga about this LookingFour. So can we know about that something unique na yan? I mean, what makes LookingFour different from the other online marketplaces out there? And I think like maybe you have some new features that makes you not just the typical lazy marketplace na pinapagsama mo lang lahat ng buyers and sellers. Like ano yung value na ino-offer na rin for these buyers and sellers?
Okay. So our first exposure to marketplace, that thing was the original before in the Philippines, Sulit, right? So it says buy and sell, classified. People, sellers post their items, and then buyers contact them. It's also similar for Carousel and Facebook Marketplace. These are also free platforms. But what we realize with LookingFour is there's a lot of people who are concerned about safety and not being scammed, right? So scams online are really a big concern for a lot of people. And what we have done with LookingFour, with other platforms, you usually have just verified your cell phone and verified your email, but it's easy to make, multiple mobile numbers and emails. We have the option. We have what we call our silver certified sellers. These are sellers who have submitted government ID. Okay, so you have we can prove that they are valid individuals, and we have also our gold certified sellers. These are sellers who have submitted proof of billing. So when something happens, you can definitely find these people, to sell settle whatever it is. But
Yung address nila pwedeng puntahan sa bahay.
yes. So,
Okay.
para iwas yung mga
Okay.
fake accounts,
Okay.
iwas yung talagang scams. So, we encourage people to become certified sellers, Sigurado Sellers on our platform.
Yeah, siguro, I want to ask nga, so parang nag-focus kayo dun sa may security dun sa Sigurado Sellers.
Yes.
Pero I want to ask, paano nyo na-determine na ito nga yung want or yung hanap ng mga buyers and sellers sa marketplace ninyo? Like, why focus on security? I mean, how did you find out about this pain point or this problem maybe? Yeah.
Yes. Well, this discussion goes into one of the next steps we'll also be taking. As we said, initially, the first version of the classifieds marketplace is just people posting, right? There's no verification, no IDs, no anything. But the thing is, with our research, trust, safety is really one of the main motivations right now of people. Even it's just it's fundamental. Even like Grab and Shopee and Lazada, all those platforms, you have to know, you have to have the identities of whoever's the rider, whoever's the seller. So it's very basic. It's just the starting point.
Yeah.
So we think that we really have to push that. That's just the basic part. The second part that we're trying to work on right now, after our next phase, kumbaga, next phase is we also want to include payment and logistics.
Okay.
Okay, so payment and logistics we think will play a big part of this looking for. But we don't want to be like Shopee or Lazada. We're differentiating ourselves by focusing on second-hand items.
Okay.
Okay. What we realized, I mean, we started this before 1 month before the lockdowns, is, I have it here. Yeah, there are two new categories of buyers right now. Those who are cautiously insulated and newly constrained.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
Ano yan?
Cautiously insulated means they weren't really affected much by the pandemic financially.
Okay.
But they're more wary of spending too much right now, right? And there's the newly constrained na before, okay naman sila before pandemic, but there's hardships ng pandemic, they are now constrained with their spending.
Okay.
And so we want to target these people by focusing on second-hand items.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you get the same value you get better value actually for your money when you buy second-hand. Diba?
Okay. Sige, can we ask lang, ano examples ng second-hand items na yan? I mean, just to know more. Like, ano ba yung mga items na natatransact sa LookingFour? Anong second-hand items yung mga yan?
Yeah, there are a lot of, I mean, ako, in our team, when I started this LookingFour, I've never really bought brand new laptops. I've always bought
I see. Okay.
second-hand laptops.
Okay.
Diba? So yun yung binibigay ko sa team, monitors, gano'n. So that's why I really believe yung value ng second-hand. Diba? So sa amin, one of the categories we're really focusing right now is second-hand home furniture. Yeah, I mean, we saw that with the growth of like yung Facebook group, Home Buddies, diba?
Yeah.
People have been stuck at home for 2 years. Alam mo na everything that nasira na gusto mo nang palitan and gusto mong a change of scenery. So you can do that with mga LookingFour.
Yeah, that's an interesting take na mas nasa bahay na nga ngayon yung mga tao. So yun na yung second-hand items na pagtuunan natin sa marketplace. Pero I mean, do you check it? But I mean, can like people sell ba first-hand? I mean,
yeah. I mean, we started with with you can sell anything on LookingFour. We started with that. So we ran Facebook ads and everything to get sellers on board. But then we realized, if we focus on brand new items, we'll actually be competing with Shopee and Lazada.
Yeah.
So I don't think we could win.
Okay, yeah.
Against
It's true. It's true what you said na parang yung Shopee and Lazada is more of general na marketplace. And marketplace startups should like focus maybe on niche. So speaking of that niche, yung second hand or second loved items, what do you call it? I mean, how do you brand yourself? How do you brand? I mean, meron ba kayong specific features or meron ba kayong community or branding to focus on that?
We're focusing our content like on our Facebook and Instagram to really invite buyers and sellers of secondhand furnitures. We also have someone who's manually reaching out to people, inviting them to post on our platform.
Okay. So I think sa community ninyo, nag-encourage din kayo for people to declutter, to organize their homes, parang ibenta yung mga hindi naman na kailangan. Tapos for other people then to buy yung mga second-hand items kasi mas mura. Is that right?
Yes. Because, I mean, the pandemic has affected a lot of us. We're all smiling happily, but deep inside, a lot of people, they're going through challenges, right? And for example, you need a PC for work or maybe computer table or things like that. You can just buy it secondhand.
Yeah, okay. So speaking of that, I want to ask, gaano ba karami yung maybe listings sa LookingFour or buyers and sellers, people in the community?
Yeah. It's an interesting number. We have around 27,000 items posted on LookingFour, and users roughly around 26,000.
Wow, ang dami.
Registered users.
Dami.
So, I attended mga startup events before pandemic, before launching LookingFour, right? And usually they ask, what's your startup? Wala. So I had no answer. I had no numbers. Right now, medyo okay. I have 27,000.
It's a lot actually.
Items posted. So we see really a demand for people. I mean, one thing good really about Filipinos is talaga madiskarte, and people are trying to find ways to earn money online. So we're trying to provide them another venue where they can sell and
yeah, and I like that kasi maybe marketplace nga sa Philippines can take on that niche, yung parang second-hand items kasi Pilipino nga are madiskarte kasi hindi naman actually I'm not sure, maybe we need a deeper survey on this kung ano ba talaga ang gusto ng mga Pilipino, original, yung brand new talaga or second-hand. What do you think of meron ka bang perspective on that?
One single one word, okay, that shows ang lakas talaga ng demand. Ukay-ukay.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Tama?
Okay, gets. So para pala kayong online ukay-ukay.
Yeah, but we're focusing more on mga furnitures and home goods. Kasi yung mga ukay-ukay, I also studied a little about them.
Yeah.
So talagang marami sa existing, lalo na sa Shopee, yung mga but for furnitures talaga and mga home goods, I think it's a underserved market.
Yeah, that's interesting, no? So parang magandang branding and niche talaga yun. So I want to ask then, do you curate ba these items na kunyari may buyer na maggagawa ng account sa LookingFour? Of course, you verify them, di ba, for security. Pero yung mga listings na pinopost nila, yung items, do you curate them or something? Like, do you check them really one by one?
We don't check one by one, but I mean, we check kung merong mga items na hindi allowed under Philippine law.
Okay,
so that's what we like. I mean, when COVID started, there were so many people posting about surgical masks, right? and face shields. So we had to really
Second-hand na
observe
surgical mask. Joke lang.
observe
Okay,
those
okay, okay.
listings.
Okay. So can I just know, ano ba ang pinanggalingan ni Looking For? So I watched nga kanina yung episode niyo sa Startup Agenda, and I learned that you have a background in computer science, and then
Yes.
nag-start ka sa garments textile
Wow,
business
okay.
ng iyong
Wow.
family. Of course, I did my research.
Oh,
So
wow,
I just
okay.
want to ask, like from those beginnings, from having a tech background-ish, so why did you
Yeah.
start an online marketplace startup? I mean, can you just share the story mula nung pinanggalingan pa nito noong like 2015 before?
Okay. So, well, I think that the origin story of Looking For really starts for me in college. So I was in college when this shows my age, but the original .com bubble, the first .com bubble, right? So I still remember that summer when my classmate was asking me, hey, check this out, this new search engine.
Okay.
And that was Google. So I've been very impressed. I've been very passionate about technology ever since. But after I graduated, I focused more on our family business. And then in 2012, I think that was when Idea Space started in the Philippines.
Yeah,
so that got me interested as well. But I applied and I was not accepted. I was rejected. But andun na yung itch.
Yeah.
I want to do something. I don't want
Yeah.
to have regrets.
Yeah.
So 2015, I thought I was ready. And so I made the plunge to do a startup. It's been a challenging journey ever since, especially launching the website 1 month before the pandemic. But we managed. So why Looking For? Why classifieds? My ethnicity is Chinese. Yes, halata naman, singkit. But I grew up in Divisoria.
Okay, yeah, gets.
Okay. So
gets ka na.
So really, Divisoria, Binondo, all that buying and selling. So that has been my background. So that's something that's close to my heart. So I want to focus on e-commerce and marketplaces.
Yeah, it's really interesting, no? Yung Divisoria part. Parang now nga it puts into question, how can you make that Divisoria or that ukay-ukay an online experience? What do you think?
Well, okay. FYI, during this pandemic as well, I also explored selling on Shopee. Okay. So I joined their groups and all that. The challenge right now for the Divisoria part, what you would call a cross-border logistics, right? So with Shopee and Lazada, you can order easily from sellers abroad. Okay. So when Shopee started, a lot of sellers bought their items from Divisoria to sell on Shopee.
Yeah.
But now, their suppliers in Divisoria are also on Shopee. So it's very challenging for a lot of local sellers. Lalo na, especially with all that, especially that cross-border thing. It's good for us as consumers, right? But for the sellers here, the challenge becomes very hard for them.
Yeah. I have a question pala doon sa platform, no? Kasi we're trying to make it an online experience. Meron ba siyang search engine or something? I mean, can you search for like, I will type table or wooden table or whatever. Yes.
Yes. We use Elasticsearch for our it powers our search. I mean, when you think of it as a classifieds website, parang it sounds so simple, right? But when we were building the back end, it's quite complicated. We're like, it's a classifieds website, yes, but we're also building instant messaging. We have our chat manager that help. You can make the whole transaction, accept offer, receive item
inside the website.
Through the chat.
Yeah, through the chat, yeah.
Okay, and we also have our Elasticsearch that powers our search for the relevance of the results for what the buyers need. It's also like a social network because people can choose to follow sellers. We're going to build that also, and having items, wish lists, things like that. So there's a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting, no? It's interesting yung parang may social network experience or may account ka. Kasi parang andun ka talaga sa website. And yung ano pala, yung payment side, so on the logistics side. So now, so when they do the deal on the chat part doon sa may looking for, how do they transact? I mean, paano napapadala yung item and paano napapadala yung...
So that's on our next phase. So that's what we plan to do. We plan to offer them our own option of payment and logistics, for which LookingFour gets a commission for facilitating the transaction. It's not required. It's optional. You can do it na ikaw bahala. Kasi before COVID, a lot of transactions were meetups.
Yeah.
Right, but with COVID, we understand that people, how we do things have changed. So that's why we're incorporating payment and shipping.
I want to go back lang dun sa security side, no? Kasi naisip ko lang, kasi sa Grab nga, important sa Grab, for example, or Uber, I mean, those kind of apps. Yung security kasi, baka mamaya hold-upper or kidnapper yung driver or something. Sa LookingFour, how important is it naman na parang to avoid these scams? I mean, may mga nangyari ba before or maybe sa other e-commerce websites na parang, I'm not that familiar kasi, na parang you pay tapos wala na. Ganun ba yun?
Well, we've encountered siguro at least may 2 attempts scams sa website. Yung isa, we were able to warn the user before proceeding.
Wow. So you do it yourself? I mean...
Well, kasi we notice an abnormally high amount of conversations, of messages back and forth.
Okay.
Diba? So parang, what's this about? Why is there so many
interesting
conversations between this buyer and seller? And so we checked the items and we saw that the seller was quite dubious. Yung price na offered na sinet niya is super unrealistic. So we had to advise the buyer that this may be a scam.
Nice. Interesting. Parang okay gawa ng AI part din. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, in the future we have to build all these tools to help people avoid scams and looking for.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I'm really interested sa magiging shape pa ni LookingFour onwards. Before we go doon sa may futuristic part natin, punta ba tayo sa... sige, you have something to say.
I want to add also, so we're in the Philippines, we're very familiar with Carousel for Southeast Asia, right? But FYI, there's also Mercari in Japan.
Okay.
It also deals with secondhand items. They're listed in the Japan Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
And it's a $1 billion company. There's also OfferUp in the US. It's not listed, but it's also $1 billion company. So we think there is really a huge potential.
Yes, and it's true actually kasi it's not easy to appreciate a marketplace startup kasi parang it's pretty common. I mean, if you hear the word marketplace, parang common, di ba? Pero you don't know na ang daming features na nangyayari sa loob niyan. May mga smart functionalities yan. Yun nga, you put the chat, you put the search engine, and you put extra effort really into security. I mean, for a common person, it's not easy to appreciate that, di ba? Pero they don't understand na napakalaking effort and maybe innovation pa nga yung nangyayari.
It's not the buy and sell before, like it's just a listing, ganun lang.
Yeah.
The internet has evolved, so we have to to evolve with it, add all
Yeah.
these features, functionalities.
Yeah, and parang yun nga, yung physical, parang pag may marketplace dyan, maybe may ukay-ukay nga, di ba? Parang you really put that physical, intimate experience into online. So, andun lahat ng features na yung security, nakikita mo yung items. Mag-search ka, ano yung nahanap mo, makikita mo, parang may tatanungin ka na parang...
Yeah. Some of the interesting things, like there was one conversation nakita ko na parang we're really proud of how easy to use our chat system is.
Okay.
And we have people messaging back and forth like 100 plus messages. Like, yeah, I mean, yun kasi, di ba? When you want to really get to know an item kung okay ba siya, talagang mahabang usapan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, lalo na kung talagang pre-loved second-hand item.
So we really built our site. Well, based on feedback ng users, our site is really easy to use in that regard.
I see. That's very interesting. At meron ba yung parang rating ng mga vendors?
Yes, we also have ratings and reviews. And actually, one of the tools that we developed is, well, okay, so pinadala na yung item, nag-usap kayo, tanggap yung offer, item has been sent, na-receive na ng buyer. How do we, there's also the option of the QR code. Okay. So, for example, we built this tool kasi before for meetups, right? So, parang I scan your QR code to show the system that we met up and we actually made a transaction.
Yeah, gets. Yeah. I mean, for third-party logistics, they do that. Parang same, di ba?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sige. So, before we go dun sa question natin na medyo futuristic, I mean, what plans pa you have in the future in 5, 10, 20 years? I just want to ask these 3 questions. Mabilis lang. I call it ACL.
Okay.
Quick lang. I mean, maybe like 10 seconds each. Parang best achievement so far, worst challenge so far, and best learning so far. So, can you give a quick answer on those 3 lang? Achievement, challenge, and learning.
Okay. Achievement is okay. When we started LookingFour, we really relied on paid ads, Facebook ads, di ba? And because it was the pandemic, that's really the only venue. I'm really proud of the team that I wrote it down here. Okay. We grew our traffic from 80% paid ads to now 80% organic traffic.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
So nag-shift talaga from paid.
And organic is a very different thing.
Yeah. So our organic traffic, basically from January to January, so 1 year, we grew it 16x.
Okay.
So I think I think that's an achievement in the sense we're almost done with our what you would call restructuring of our backend to really make it more friendly to Google. So once we're finished with that, I think we're gonna increase a lot more.
Yeah. And totoo na very different nga pag organic kasi it goes out pa eh. Parang may ano pa dyan eh, may tawag dito, may word of mouth na
Yeah.
advertising pa dyan.
Basically, no money, no traffic.
Okay, sige. That's a good achievement. Sige. So let's go to sa challenge naman. How about challenge? Parang pinaka naging challenging na part ng pag-build ng LookingFour.
Right now, since we started like in general, diba? So lessons learned, mahirap yung very very general lahat. So we learned we have to really focus on the niche. So that's why we came up with focusing on secondhand home furnitures, home furnishings, mga ganun.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's what...
That's an expensive lesson.
True. And I think maganda nga na minention mo na yun dito para our listeners, maybe if they want to start a startup, they focus on the niche kaysa they become, I mean, they compete with Shopee and Lazada or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is for old people who are starting out, The reason why you need to really focus on the niche is very simple. You don't have enough money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? You cannot target every category simply because you will not have the resources.
Yeah.
Okay? So even if in the future yung plan mo malaking platform, you have to start with a very small segment. It's how Facebook started with colleges, how Uber started muna, limousine, right? So you have to
true.
the very small category first
True.
before you can grow it others. So,
Yeah, true. Parang that's how you bootstrap sort of your
yeah. It's super expensive to market like for general category, di ba? Do I market to booksellers,
Yeah.
to PC shops,
Yeah.
to toy sellers, ang dami. So not
Yeah,
enough.
and come to think of it, parang okay din na nangyayari na may mga focus sa bawat niche. Parang you really focus on that brand and you really, kasi baka iba-iba yung parang hanap ng customers dyan eh. So parang
Yes.
you really focus your efforts on the service na hanap ng maybe nga may book niche.
Yeah.
So yung may book branding, may book.
I mean, Amazon started with really books.
True.
We take it for granted, but Amazon started really with just books alone.
Yeah.
Do it from there. So you have to when you start, you just have to focus on one part.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive.
Yeah. So do you think ba possible pa ba na mag-iba yung niche nyo or something? I mean, I just want to ask, what do you think?
Well, what I tell my team is the market decides what it wants.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to follow the market. So with all our efforts right now, I'm not just saying na ito na yung final namin. Diba? We test it out. As a startup, all you can do is experiment until you hit the right spot.
Okay. Yeah, and then yung L na lang. So yung learning. So what learning can you impart to our listeners? Or maybe yun na ba yun?
Teka. Okay. Learning is, you have, well, I was thinking of writing this down, but i-share ko na rin dito. Since you're focusing on, it's connected. When you're focusing on a very small niche, right? Then you are forced to do things that don't scale.
Okay.
Kasi, so we tried paid ads. So we learned na what's important in the beginning is the quality of users, people you get in, right? So even if I get 100, I mean, I could just spend and get sobrang high numbers of users and everything. But what's important is the quality of the users coming in. So that's why you have to focus on doing things that don't scale. Kasi you have like yung sa amin, category namin, second-hand furnitures, ang hirap maghanap ng sellers ng ganun.
Okay.
Diba? But yung nagtitinda ng mga kung ano-anong items, etc., mas mabilis gawin yon. Pero you will meet problems with generating liquidity, yung mga transactions. So you have to do things that don't scale because you're starting from a very small niche. So when you become successful in doing that and everything connects, then ayun na, tataas na yung lalaki na yung word of mouth.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. That's really how you go slowly maybe. I mean, don't scale agad-agad too much.
Yeah. So that's why I say it's an expensive lesson. Kasi when you do Facebook ads, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Diba?
Pero hindi naman talagang valuable yung nakukuha mong traffic dun minsan eh, diba? Hindi siya replicable. I mean, malaking chance na hindi naman siya mag-repeat customer.
Yeah. And I see that story in a lot of startups. Hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, but sa abroad, diba? Parang they grew so fast and then hindi pala fit. So, but then yung funding problema na.
Yeah.
So we're taking it slow because what we learned, there's no shortcut.
And I think interesting din actually for me yung mga bootstrap stories eh. Parang talaga nag-grow slowly and unti-unti na build yung product market fit, yung revenue model na talagang grounded sa market, sa customer segment na I mean it's really there, it's really grounded sa totoong buhay. I mean. And then, that's a good sharing. So let's now go sa ating pinaka last part. So if you have a very large amount of money, how will you build LookingFour further? I mean, parang ano yung ideal online marketplace or Philippine e-commerce setting for you? And do you think meron bang parang specific features that a PH or a Filipino marketplace should have? I mean, can you just share your opinions? Let's be idea lang in the future.
Yeah. Well, sa akin, I think what we're doing right now with looking for, if we become successful, it would be easy to replicate, I mean, in ASEAN region, right? So talagang malaking challenge siya against Carousel or Facebook. Kasi nga, I think malaking factor if we could offer shipping and payment, di ba? Isipin mo, nag-order ka ng, nakita mo yung item, second hand, may lumang table, lumang cabinet na feeling mo okay sa condo mo, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang, okay, go. Tapos, delivered na. So, yun yung gusto kong magawa. It's a managed marketplace where you can do everything in just using the website. If I had infinite money, I really want to make it talagang the destination with everything. Marami, the complete idea in my head of LookingFour. Ang dami pa niyang ibang features na gusto naming ma-implement. But due to limitations ng bandwidth ng mga tao namin. So medyo
yeah, of course.
Kasama lang. Pero yun yung nakikita ko kasi yun nga, we have so many things at home that we don't use. Diba? And actually, the more people buy from Shopee and Lazada, pag hindi na nila kailangan, the more na pwede nilang ibenta sa LookingFour.
Yeah.
So I think malaki yung potential ng market, and I think na if we execute it well, yun nga, we hope to really make a good impact here in the Philippines as well in the ASEAN region. Kasi I mean, there's really a lot of good stories about local startups right now, diba? So, but when I was doing this starting 2015, medyo wala pa. So, I think na kaya. We want to also play a big part in the development of e-commerce din.
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, 2015 medyo nag-start yung e-commerce. Pero parang that time, diba, Shopee, Lazada. Tapos ngayon nabubuo yung mga marketplace startups na may mga sariling niche, may mga sariling features. Yeah, and I like what you said, yung parang you see a furniture, a table, a closet, a chair, a bed maybe, and parang okay to. Parang magandang magawa siyang all-in experience na parang may imagine mo sa kwarto mo or sa bahay mo na you have this kind of and then you can easily buy that, di ba? Kasi
exactly.
That other people are selling.
Yeah, basically yun nga, second-hand items, add to cart mo na, delivered.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So, thank you, Randy. So, lagpas na tayo sa time. So, wow. If our listeners or other people want to know more about LookingFour, maybe they want to browse things, browse secondhand items at LookingFour, or they want to sell their secondhand items. So, where can they get more information? Where can they go to? What's the website?
Yeah. So, www.lookingfour.com for FOUR. So, that's our website, and same for our socials. LookingFour buy and sell online on Facebook. Medyo di ko
Yeah, I can link those naman sa descriptions below. Yeah, okay, so that's really interesting, and thank you for sharing your thoughts about starting a marketplace startup. Medyo interesting yung mga ideas na na-share natin about yung building a marketplace, ano ba dapat meron sa marketplace. And yeah, so thank you, Randy, and thank you for sharing about LookingFour.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and thank you for supporting Philippine startups.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much to our 11 patrons. This episode is super powered by NutriCoach, the all-in-one productivity tool for dietitians and nutritionists, and Benjoy's Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, tapa, and tocino. This episode is powered by ePlayment and Interleukin. Support us at www.patreon.com/startuppodcastph.